All right, cool. Hello. I just measured there's about a 5 second lag or so, but I can hear chat and everything is all right. So yeah, welcome to the first edition of ML News live stream. Uh, this is out of necessity. My editor is on Christmas vacation, and I don't have time to edit myself. So we're just gonna have to do this live. It might be a bit slower than you're used to, and a bit less concise. But I hope you forgive me. Uh, yeah, hello everyone, and thanks everyone who is here, everyone who's gonna watch this in the future. I will put all the links to stuff that I present into the description once the broadcast is over. And I hope I can leave it up in public. Not that, if I say something stupid, I might have to take it down because that's usually the stuff that gets edited out. All right. So first of all, most importantly, please check out Weights and Biases. Look at this awesome tea beaker. I use it for tea, but you might use it for. I don't actually know if they sell it or if they just give it to people who shill for them. In any case, check them out. If you followed me on the stream, you know that I've been working on a little bit of an implementation of a question answering system. And this is my panel for this. And it's just so easy with Weights and Biases. It takes one line, not even like as soon as you're logged in, it automatically logs here. And this is my sweep that I'm currently doing. It's just optimizing hyperparameters for me. I don't have to do anything except sit and wait. And it's optimizing all my hyperparameters. And you can see right here, I can sort of filter by the runs that did best. This is Bayesian optimization. I have no clue how Bayesian optimization of hyperparameters works, like in depth, but it just does it for you. You can filter, it tells you which parameters are important. Here I can see the learning rates that are probably going to lead to good performance. And it kind of just logs everything and then gives you an idea, not, here's my training loss, but also it logs all the system, like GPU usage, memory usage, blah, 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 whatever you want. And after that, you can look at this in sort of table form, you can filter it, and you can look at all the logs here. I've checked them before, there's a lot of errors. I might want to casually check in on that. And then lastly, I can just stop it from here or pause it or whatever. And this runs distributed, like this runs on a bunch of servers. They just pull the new experiments, they run it, and they report it back. Super awesome. Yeah, please check out Weights and Biases. They've been an awesome sponsor, and I'm pretty sure it's good for you. It's completely free for personal use. Also, some of you might have noticed merch, but it's not done yet. As you can see, the logo is kind of way too far out, so it sort of hides under the arm. But this is it's mostly for myself, just because I think it's funny to have merch. But I will put it up if anyone wants one too. But this has to move a little bit closer to the middle, I think, and there's a few other fixes I need to do. All right, first story first. This is too funny. Someone opened an issue on the TensorFlow GitHub repo saying I effing hate TensorFlow. This is insane. Like just the audacity of this person to open I mean, people sound off on Reddit and Twitter and whatnot, and we're used to that. But people sort of abusing the GitHub issue system in order to sound off on libraries. You might have guessed, it's been met with various different reactions. I think most people say, don't do this, please. Although this being the sort of first of its kind, at least in our community, it is a bit funny. But, the joke has been done now, so please don't do it again. It's not like the first one's funny and the rest isn't. But if you want to see, this is what it said. It said, I hate TensorFlow. Yes, I effing hate TensorFlow. I created this GitHub account only to open this issue. Please use Jax or PyTorch or anything else. Don't use TensorFlow. Don't report me. Don't mad at me. Don't ask me why, because I don't want to talk about it anymore. I effing hate TensorFlow. And as you might imagine, people have reacted, and then this got posted on Reddit and Twitter, and then people reacted some more. And if you wanna give this a go, I think it's funny. Don't do it, but this was funny. And then obviously it's been logged as spam, as it should be. There is a bit of a bigger discussion on Reddit, so exactly of why people hate TensorFlow. I have not used TensorFlow in quite a while, I have to say. At least I haven't used any, like I haven't programmed anything myself. I have used code, I've modified code, but when I program myself, it's usually in Torch. So people say that TensorFlow has sort of become a big, buggy pile of garbage or equivalent. I think software libraries, you can always argue about it. And negative opinions, as Reddit is, negative opinions will always sort of bubble to the top and be more prominent than people who say, yeah, it's kind of okay. So I don't know what you think about TensorFlow. It does its job, and it's powering a lot of the world's machine learning. And I think it's pretty easy. It's pretty good to get started. It has Keras as a high-level abstraction. And yeah, they put a lot of work into it. And yes, there's some bugs, but I just thought it was quite funny. If you want to see all the opinions, as I said, GitHub is fine enough to record the history of everything that has been said right here. So feel free. Okay. Thank you. Wait. How do I make this go away? The South China Morning Post writes that Chinese scientists develop an AI prosecutor that can press its own charges. The machine is able to identify 8 common crimes such as fraud, gambling, dangerous driving, and picking quarrels. And prosecutors in China already use an AI tool to evaluate evidence and assess how dangerous a suspect is to the public. So this is a story about sort of advances in statistical systems in China, in the criminal justice system. And it is a bit more nuanced than the title seems to suggest. So this has also been done in the US. There was big stories about systems that assess how likely criminals are to be repeat offenders. And now this system right here is a system that apparently is able to identify charges. So if you look for quarrels, these are the things that it recognizes: credit card fraud, running a gambling operation, dangerous driving, intentional injury, obstructing official duties, theft, fraud, and picking quarrels and provoking trouble. So what it's doing is you input a description of the case, like a verbal description, and it will output the charges of the defendant, the charges that it would charge the defendant with. It is not, as far as I understand, it is not the judge. It is not, simply assigning those charges and then that's it. It seems to automate sort of the most boring tasks that a prosecutor does, namely, there's a description, there's a police description and everything, and then the charges to be filed have to be formalized. And I can imagine, look, I'm not trying to downplay the severity of this, but I can imagine that for something like someone, stealing something from a store, this is a very standard procedure, right? There's a police report, it always looks the same. It kind of lists the things they stole, how they behaved, yada, yada, yada. And the sort of the mental effort to take that and formally file the charges, putting all the crosses in the right place, selecting the right things from the lists and so on, is maybe, it's straightforward. I can totally see that like an NLP system will simply be able to do this out of the box. Now, this is not to say that there aren't many dangers along with this and many worries, but for example, it says that picking quarrels and provoking trouble is a catch-all charge often used to stifle dissent, but prosecutors do that anyway, right? The system simply replicates what the prosecutors have done in the 17,000 cases in the last 5 years that it's been trained on. So you get all the problems of, this has been trained on old cases, there are sort of old biases in there and whatnot. Also, the machines probably will not be able to distinguish slight nuances, but you would hope that in a functioning criminal system, this goes before a judge. The judge would take a look at the charges and what has been what is being said. So, I mean, apart from all of what you can think right here, I do think that low level sort of grudging tasks that people have to do, taking natural language, putting them into some sort of formal systems, can be automated by AI. And the fact that this here is being done in the criminal justice system is worrying, but it's sort of more by association than by what this particular thing seems to be. Not saying that there isn't horrible stuff going on, but look into it yourself if you want to find out more. I'll link to it. There was a popular, very popular tweet going around by Max Wolf saying, "I forced a bot to look at every Pokemon and told it to generate its own. Here are the results." And the pictures are quite neat. It's sort of pictures of new Pokemon, and they actually look like some. So given how many Pokemon there are, isn't this like the 6th or 7th or 8th generation of Pokemon we're on now? I'm surprised that in the space, like in the latent space of Pokemon, there is still a Pokemon that doesn't exist. It seems like every combination of pixels that looks like a shape of any kind has been made into a Pokemon. So like how does this thing here not exist? This seems like it exists, right? I don't know, but I guess that's the beauty of GANs. Yeah. So if you're interested, check it out. It's a pretty cool project. Next story, Gibson Dunn writes, New York City enacts a law restricting the use of artificial intelligence in employment decisions. This is a report, and apparently from 2023 on, New York City employers will be restricted from using artificial intelligence machine learning products in hiring and promotion decisions. And specifically here, it says, so it defines automated employment and decision tools. It defines as any computational process derived from machine learning, statistical modeling, data analytics, or artificial intelligence that issues simplified output, including a score, classification, or recommendation that is used to substantially assist or replace discretionary decision-making for making employment decisions that impact natural persons. There's a fancy way of saying if you have some system where you throw in a bunch of CVs and you get out like a score of how good an employee will be, you cannot use these systems anymore. So the law prohibits the use of such tools to screen a candidate or employee for an employment decisions unless it has been subject of a bias audit. Okay, a bias audit is defined as an impartial evaluation by an independent author, yada, yada, yada. So this is, first of all, the definition here could cover nothing and everything. Okay? Any computational process derived from machine learning, statistical modeling, data analytics, or artificial intelligence that issues a simplified output, including a score, classification, recommendation, yada, yada, yada. So what if an HR person Googles a person, right? Like Google is certainly based on statistical modeling. The outputs are a simplified output. It's not, you don't get the entire internet. You only get a simplified output pertaining to the person you search. You get a score and the classification, the search results. No one looks past page 1 on Google. And yes, HR people do use that to substantially assist them in decision making. So search engines are now banned unless they've undergone a bias audit. But this applies to search engines. What if I throw the CVs into a machine that simply checks for, I don't know, like some really exclusion criteria I have. For example, if a person is even permitted to work in the country that I'm willing to hire. Well, is that an automated yada 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 yada? It is. So these definitions are made so they can cover everything potentially. And then, of course, there is the backdoor. Okay, you have the bias audits, and the bias audits, they sound nice, but we all know that they're going to be, they're going to be, I don't know, as flawed or more flawed than the original systems. And all this is, in my opinion, is a shift of money and resources. You can bet that the bias audit companies are lobbying hard for this law to be passed. I'm not this is not saying anything against, these systems do have bias, these systems have giant problems, okay? This is not commenting on that. This is commenting on this law. It's made such that it can cover everything, and it is made to shift resources to a thing that, in my opinion, doesn't solve any problem at all. With these automated hiring tools, of course, they are tricky, right? But we have to face the reality. A lot of places now, they get so many applications, it's like impossible to handle them. Humans make mistakes too. So now if you don't want to undergo this bias audit, you have to get more humans, you have to overwork them more, you have to have them more like, hey, human, check all of these CVs for who's even eligible, right? This is a grudging task. And now the humans are there being like, all right, you think they don't make mistakes? You think the humans are not biased? Well, okay. But that's my opinion. You can decide for yourself. At least the violations are moderate, let's say, at least so I guess medium-sized businesses can afford to violate this. Next story, this is a bit more drastic. There is a tweet by Kristen Livdahl saying, my 10-year-old just asked Alexa on her Echo for a challenge. And this is what she said. I presume that is referring to Alexa. So the prompt is tell me a challenge to do. And the response is, here is something I found on the web. According to this website, the challenge is simple. Plug in a phone charger about halfway into a wall outlet, and then touch a penny to the exposed prongs. And there's even a little timer to go along with this. So this naturally shocked a lot of people. Well, shocked, I mean, people deliberately saying, well, I'm not shocked, I always knew. But it is a rather grave suggestion, right? If someone were to actually follow this, there is serious danger involved right here, especially if you hold on to the penny as you do it. But even if you don't, things go bang and start burning. So the bigger question is more of, what should we do about it? Of course, Amazon responded saying they'd fix it immediately, but obviously there's going to be other cases. The question is a little bit, is there something you can proactively do against these types of mistakes while still retaining the service, right? Of course, we could say we don't do question answering anymore. The problem here is not that these challenges exist, because obviously Alexa found this on the internet somewhere. This is a challenge people actually do. It's, akin to eat this cleaner, eat this Tide Pod. It's a little bit like this. It's just something stupid that people challenge each other to do. And it probably originated from someone just trolling. However, if Alexa finds something like this a lot on the internet, you know, should it suggest that, or what can we do here? Should we try to detect this? Should we display a warning? Do we have to take down question answering altogether so that people don't get the impression this is some authoritative information? It is a hard problem, right? You cannot possibly cover all the dangerous cases because, well, language is rich and the internet is good at coming up with new stupid things. So it's impossible to cover all of them. However, you know, what else should you do? Should you sort of put on 20 disclaimers? Well, if you put them everywhere, people are just going to disregard them. It's the same as, you know, you put with every file you open, you put like, this could be a virus. After a while, people stop paying attention. So I'm not entirely sure what to be done here, and I don't know if the people who are very outraged about this have better ideas. But it's a cool challenge. If you are looking for something to work on with like some real life benefits, if you can get to a general place where things like these are prevented, then very, very, you know, excellent work. There is this article by MarketWatch. This fund is driven by artificial intelligence. This fund driven by artificial intelligence is ditching big tech. Here's what it's doing instead. So this is about a fund, like a hedge fund, that is run by artificial intelligence. So the story is about how it used to have a lot of the sort of the 5 core FANG stocks in it and made some profit, but now recently it has been dropping those. It only has Apple now. So it says, as recently as September, these were its top 4 positions, making up nearly a quarter of the exchange-traded fund. Now only Apple is in the portfolio. So this might lead you to believe, wait a minute, there is, you know, something here. What is going on? This AI knows something I don't, and it's strange. And then you read, it uses IBM Watson to pick stocks. Me, who trusted its money to IBM Watson? A product that won Jeopardy. Yes, good job, you won Jeopardy, and then failed to solve any other problem ever. Allegedly. So, you know, good job trusting your money to Watson. I mean, if it works out, good for you. Happy you get rich off of it, but this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. Okay, this here, the Food Recognition Benchmark 2022. It's a real life, not hot dog. Okay, so recognize food from images, extremely useful, especially distinguishing hot dog from not hot dog. You can take part in it. If you have a class, not hot dog, so easy, okay, not hot dog. Now look at this. Is there even hot dog? Nah, 100% so far. But, you know, can you build a machine that does the same like me as a human? Who knows? Take part in the food recognition benchmark. There's prizes, apparently. There's a drone, there's another drone. I'm not curious. I already solved the challenge. And there's an Oculus. Yeah, you go for it. Yeah, this is the helpful things section of the broadcast. So we're going to go a bit faster now, and I'll just point some stuff out that might be helpful to you. And as I said, all the links will be in the description. So Gradio now has native embeddings. So without iframes, there's like these like 2 lines of code. It's not 2 lines of JavaScript unless you count the comment. I guess it's 1 tag and 1 line of JavaScript. So you can see this right here. This is an embedded Gradio space. So this what is it? Mushroom. Nah. Okay, let's try it. I only have my mouse right here. So this, oh, wait, no, clear. So this, and then this, and then we're gonna, did I ever say that I am terrible at drawing? Syringe. No, I was going for hot dog. Okay, maybe I'll like the bun and then the thing in the middle and then the other bun. Hot dog. See, we could put this on the food challenge. Okay, you can now embed Gradio spaces. Very cool, like natively with JavaScript. Active Loop has developed this hub, which is supposed to be a dataset format for AI. This reminds me of this XKCD comic where they go, there's 16 different standards for data transmission. Let's develop one that unifies them all. And then it's like 6 months later, there's 17 different standards for data transmission. It is a common interface for data sets. What I find cool is that it has lots of backend possibilities. So you can choose sort of where your data set is stored. Can be in an S3 bucket, in a Google Cloud bucket, in memory, so on. And therefore you can send these around and give data sets easily to other people, no matter where they are located. It might be something for you. Yeah, check it out if you are looking for a solution like this. Echo is a library. By the way, these things, they are sometimes not super new, but they have new releases, or I've just recently seen them. I call this news, but it's more like news to me. Echo is a library that visualizes NLP models, and they also have a new version out now. And this is a pretty cool library. So for example, here you can ask which of the tokens have led to a particular decision. Like here, the decision negative is influenced very much by the words like weakness and expect and blow expected. So you can decide you can make better informed decisions about what your model does. They have lots of visualizations, like what words are considered in particular instances, at which layer of a transformer did the model think, or did the model get most of the information. So you can see here the word London, which is the correct token. At layer 0, it was ranked 1444 as a token. So it wasn't really on top of the list of an answer. But then as it goes through the model, it sort of gets more sure. Layer 9 seems to be particularly effective right here. In layer 10, it sort of broadens its scope again a little bit, but layer 11 actually gets it right. Broadens its scope, I guess it puts it at rank 53. Maybe a short hesitation before the finish line. It's interesting. I wonder, is this a general pattern that sort of the last layers sort of fan out again? I'm not sure, because it seems super monotonic until like layer 9 right here. I'd be interested. There is some evidence from research that these transformer models, especially BERT or so, that have been trained with masked language modeling, they have their more abstract or their most abstract representations in the middle somewhere, because towards the end they need to do language modeling again and actually go back to tokens. Sorry, just double S refreshing. Yeah, so what are the patterns in neuron activations in BERT when it processes a piece of text and so on? There's lots of examples of visualizations you can do. So if you look to understand your language models, check out Echo. Then this is Continuum, also with a new release, I believe. No, this is September 17th. It's just news to me. This is a data set library, like a data loader library that you can plug into Torch data loaders, if I understand correctly. And what it allows you to do is to do continual learning. So lifelong learning, continual learning, and so on. And what is this on the right? usually data sets, they're sort of bounded, even if you can't load them in memory. All they are usually defined by like a set of files or some table in a database or whatnot. And with this library, it extends it a bit more and enables things like, yeah, continuous learning, lifelong learning, iterated learning, and so on. There is this Reddit post, and it's about a repository that makes the rounds every few weeks on Reddit, and people are always excited by it. And it's... Oh, okay, I messed it up. It must be coming somewhere. It's the Transformers Deployer repository that makes Transformers inference faster. And what it does is, it says it somewhere. It says it somewhere. What it does is it parses your Python code. It builds the AST, the abstract syntax tree from it, and then it's able to go down the abstract syntax tree. And whenever you have something like a weight layer, where is it? Where is it? Behind the scene, transformer source is parsed to AST. Operators like matrix multiplication or a layer norm are wrapped by a quantizer. Linear layers are replaced by quantized versions of them, and some unsupported operators are replaced. So this is very automatic. You plug it in, and it does as much as it can for you. This is not a substitution for you writing good code, but it can speed up your inference a little bit. So you can see here from the example code, you have to wrap your code in a context of this QAT calibrate object, and then you can do various operations on the model. Such as, yeah, this setup model QAT will auto enhance your model, let's say. Okay, this was this. Facebook has a model called SLIP, which is a derivative. It's a mix between CLIP, which is we train images and language together, and self-supervised learning, if I understand correctly. Yes, and self-supervised learning is when you take images and you do any of the 5 million self-supervised learning tasks. Usually it's either some kind of contrastive objective where you try to bring representations close together and far apart, or it doesn't even have negatives. In any case, this model beats CLIP in various benchmarks, various zero-shot regimes, and so on, and shows that you can, in fact, combine the image language supervision, like CLIP, and self-supervised learning, which I guess they do like they do in SimCLR. So this is specifically for image data that has text associated with it. All right. There is a paper, and their models are available, code is available. Cool. This, I found this. Joel Jang has made another music video to my Be My Weasel song. I just found that to be fantastic. Thanks to God. Be my weasel, be my pig, be my badger, all I'm sure is. So it moves. It's sort of the images. They stay quite like there is a continuity to them, which tells me that maybe Joel optimized the latent representation. Always kind of started from the last one when starting to optimize. I initially always started from a random one, then optimized, and then calculated the trajectory in between them. I don't know if that is different here, but it looks very cool. I found this by like accident. So thanks, Joel, very cool. And there is a GitHub repo with the code where you can, I suppose, create your own. This is obviously upgrading from my original design that had clip and regular GAN, big GAN. This is upgraded to now VQ GAN, which is obviously much more pretty. If you want to check it out, this is available, and my original repo remains available. And this, I believe the song itself, I linked somewhere as an MP3 file. So yeah. There is this library, RL Hive, which is another library to do reinforcement learning. The reinforcement learning library space is like, so there's more RL libraries than RL researchers or problems to solve. However, it also tells you a little bit that there appear to be a lot of stuff not solved yet, like in library design. It's not like the whole world has converged on a reinforcement learning library. And this might stay this way because the field is just so large, or it might be because no one has sort of cracked the code yet. And therefore, if you are unsatisfied with all the RL libraries so far, then give RL Hive a try. Has a neat documentation with some quick start experiments, and it is easy to run single and multi-agent reinforcement learning tasks. Compute is a library, a general purpose GPU compute library. And the special thing is that it's cross-vendor. So you can see it supports various graphics cards. So it is a bit lower level than the frameworks like TensorFlow and whatnot, even if they sometimes have, as far as I understand, they sometimes have a little bit of a support for different other than NVIDIA GPUs. For example, I mean, TensorFlow has a TPU support, but here we talk about graphic cards. So this is for anyone who wants to write a little bit of a lower level code, like GPU code, that maybe does a little bit more complicated things than just plugging neural network layers together, but doesn't want to go super far down close to the metal and having to contend with all the different graphic card vendors, which inevitably you end up writing it for the one you have and then trying to port it to something else. So I have not much clue about this stuff. If you're interested in lower level but yet still abstract GPU code, then maybe give Compute a try. If you have something neat to implement and you think you could benefit from acceleration, but the frameworks like TensorFlow, PyTorch are just a bit too restrictive, this might be for you. Okay, the CPPE dataset, it's a dataset that is essentially an image recognition, localization, segmentation, or multi-localization dataset, and is specifically for around personal protective equipment. So the difference here between this and other datasets is that this is specifically for the niche of the medical field, and they've paid special attention, as far as I can understand, that the pictures are real life pictures. Well, on the top left, I'm not entirely sure how real life that is, that this person is posing, but these are not kind of staged, let's say. These are, at least that's what they say in the paper. They really paid attention that they're complex scenes, they're kind of real life scenes, and therefore the task is quite hard. So if you're interested, give this a try. This was it. Yeah, I knew I had it open somewhere, the transformers deploy. It's twice. Okay. There's a call out to the first international symposium on the Zetlin machine. I hope that's how one pronounces it. Zetlin machine. This is a symposium about, well, you guessed it, Zetlin machines. What is a Zetlin machine? If you don't know what it is, this is not going to be enough time to explain it, but essentially it is a neural, like you can imagine it as a neural network-ish thing, but that doesn't necessarily go with numbers and vectors, but its fundamental units are propositional logic. So it will try to make sense of the world by applying propositional logic rules and sort of coming up with almost a bit like program building, internal program building, making sense of the world by building up symbolic rules and then trying to compute some output out of it. That's not to say that there are no like numbers in it, not to say that there isn't vectors in any of this. However, it is built on fundamentally different principles. If this is interesting to you, check out Wikipedia article. If this is still interesting to you, maybe check out the first symposium. Jojo GAN is a one-shot face stylization system, and all like the entire reason I wanted to show this, there is a repo to go along with it, so you can try it out. There is a Hugging Face space. There is, a nice GIF that explains it to you with famous people. However, the reason I'm showing this is to show that if you put Elon Musk on something right now, you'll just get like exposure massive. And I'm gonna start to doing this from now on. Just put Elon Musk on stuff. It used to be Lena in the early days, and then that just kind of got frowned upon. And then it used to be Obama. You put Obama on anything, and then it used to be, I think it used to be like Trump, and now it's Elon. So what? There you go. If you want fame, either post Elon or post this picture with the airplane and the dots, the survivor bias picture. And this is the last story. The Guardian writes, worried about super intelligent machines, they are already here. Now this, I almost dismissed this article, but then I saw who wrote it, John Naughton, and then I remembered we have already talked about John Naughton before, namely in this article right here. The Truth About Artificial Intelligence, It Isn't That Honest, also by John Naughton, in which, I rant a lot about this truthful QA benchmark, but I have never, ever seen anyone butcher it so hard like John Naughton of The Guardian. It's just like, if you think that the benchmark itself and the tweets by the authors are, kind of framed to give a false impression, the article here is just outright lie about what the results of this research are. It's just wrong. And so I was interested in this article, and it's like, it has 3 paragraphs of people have been worried about AI machines, and it finally comes to this dystopian fears, Nick Bostrom, yada, yada, yada. And then it says, but for anyone who thinks that living in a world dominated by super intelligent machines is a not in my lifetime prospect, here is a salutary thought. We already live in such a world. The AIs in questions are called corporations. They're definitely super intelligent. The collective IQ, they have immense wealth and resources. You said machines, John. Machines. You just don't get to switch the topic, okay? Like this is, it's not a lie like the other article, but it is clickbait as hell. Like, what? You don't get to do this. Machines. Corporations are not machines. You can make an argument that corporations are organisms, they're hive minds, they have the life of their own, they have power and possess goods, can trade by themselves and have their own dynamics, which no single human is sort of the master of. But you don't get to call them machines, and you don't get to make an article about how people are afraid of AIs rising up, and then saying it's already here. They're called corporations. I mean, come on. And then this just doesn't even, and then it's like, one such super intelligent machine is called Facebook. Oh no. What is the deal with dumping on Facebook? I don't get, like, I have asked myself this so much. Like, it's, Facebook seems to be the, like, whatever, the worst, even though I don't see a difference between Facebook and Twitter in terms of how bad the environment is. It's both like a cesspool of stuff. But Facebook, YouTube also doesn't have, with these people, YouTube is also like, but Facebook is like super duper bad. I don't know why. I've not figured out yet. In any case, sorry, no, the the super intelligent machines are not already here, and it is also not a funny thought experiment to to think about it. All right, this was it. What the WTF is a Facebook? Well, yeah, we should almost call it the Facebook, right? Why people just call it Facebook? That's kind of dumb. Yes, this was it for the first edition of ML News Live. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let me know how you like live streams, because for sure, like we'll edit the news again, because this is just too slow and too long. But in general, I enjoyed live streaming quite a bit for doing research and chatting to people. But I might do it on the second channel. By the way, there is a second channel. It's called Ionic Out of Distribution. But yeah, I might live stream there some more. Check out Weights and Biases, please. It's definitely a very cool platform, the absolute best. And I'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao.